Hi there folks, welcome back to the Mozza Robertson YouTube channel. Man himself here, Mozza, and we're back for more Photo Finish Live. This time, this is season 18. As I'm recording this, it's Fool's Day, so happy Fool's Day belatedly to everyone that's watching this on Tuesday onwards. And we have a new season schedule, a new calendar of events and races to see us through. I'm really excited about it. I think it's really positive. So let's get into the changes and let you know some other kind of general news updates on what's happening in PFL as well. Remember, if you're enjoying the content and you're finding it useful, don't just tell the world about it. I appreciate everyone that shares the tweets or X reposts, I think they're called now, whatever they are, on social medias. Please consider liking and subscribing the video. That helps more people like you see this content and hopefully get a little bit of help going forward with their PFL. Also, don't forget, if you are in the UK like I am, or any other country that you may not be sure about how to play PFL, VPNs are your answer, and Proton VPN is free and linked in the description below. Couple of pieces of news just before we get started. Firstly, on the eve of season 18, there was the biggest ever sale of a horse on PFL. Bit of an eye-opener, so if you're new to the game especially, wait for this one. Just over $50,000 was spent, $50,000 and a single dollar on the end, just to make sure it was the record. That was an SS- colt, so not even a filly that can breed, a colt that can stud, and it is still a foal, so it's not even racing yet. That was the biggest sale there has been so far, and it just goes to show where PFL could go in the future. Really exciting stuff. Also, with all the changes, there is another race type to consider for you. It's not a brand new race type, it's just a condition of an existing race type. So before there were general claimer races, which are the races where you put your horse in, there's a claimer price on it. If someone pays that price, they can claim your horse and take it off your hands. That they were getting a bit flooded with S grades, S- grades, and they weren't really being used as well or as much by lower graded horses. That might change now because you have restricted grade claimers. So if you have an A- horse, for example, you want to put it in a claimer, no longer are you just throwing money down the drain on an entry fee with no chance of winning. You can go into a restricted A- claimer if all the conditions suit. The prices, the entry fees are a little bit higher for that just now. In my opinion, a little bit too high, to be honest, and they're comparable with other race types for that grade. I believe claimer races should be less entry fees, especially for the lower prices on the claims. However, we'll see if they adjust in future, and they are there for you to go and have a look at on the website right now if you are interested. With that all done though, a couple of housekeeping items taken off the agenda, let's get into the 4-week season going forward for Photo Finish Live. So before now, it has been a bit of everything thrown in at the one time. You've had majors week by week, you've had breeding instantly in week 1 that has dominated proceedings, and it can be a little bit hard to get to grips with. To be honest, as a newer player, it took me a long time to try and get my head around everything. This new setup is so much easier because it has structure. Every week has a reason and it has an existence. There's a point of it happening. So we'll start with week 1. Week 1 is obviously on the Monday where all the foals come through. You get your reveals, you see what grades they are, but you also have your 1-year-olds that have just turned 2 that are going into juvenile races. So week 1 is generally for racing these juveniles, getting them into maidens, into juvenile stakes, into juvenile allowances or handicaps, and trying to assess what kind of talent these young horses may have, if they've got a future, and just trying to nail down their best conditions and distances. On the Saturday, there is a special new tournament, a free roll. It's called the Silver Stakes. It is allowance races at all kind of left turf, right turf. Almost got that right there. They have to be 6 years or older, and they can go in to the silver stakes. So it gives people a reason to keep their horses running later. Right now it's too easy to retire horses at the age of 4, the age of 5, when they begin to drop off a little bit potentially in ability. The silver stakes gives you a reason to keep your horses racing longer. So in my opinion, really positive move. The way the allowance is set is a special all-encompassing allowance from A- all the way up through the S grades. It'll be a mess, and it'll be a delightfully fun mess, so I'm looking forward to watching that, and maybe even picking up a cheap 6-year-old to throw in and take part as well. So with week 1 out of the way, the foals have had their week, the old boys and the old girls have had their chance at the weekend. That brings us to week 2. Monday of week 2 is breeding time. So breeding week is week 2. The window opens on the Monday for 7 days. Everyone who has a stud or everyone who has a mare that they want to take to a stud, be that in their own stable or elsewhere, have that duration of 7 days to get the deed done, to pay up their derby and to get foals ready for the next season. A little bit less time than some might have wanted. I've seen people in the Discord say they would like 10 days, for example, a little bit longer to plan ahead. You will need to do some forward planning in week 1 most likely when it comes to breeding, but I like the structure, I must admit. I like that week 2 is now breeding, so it's not a rush straight away at the start of a season. It means people can't just come in, do that, forget about it and come back in 4 weeks. They'll hopefully pay more attention to what's happening on track as well, even if they're not as big racers, and I think it's a good thing for the community, the game, the health of it as a whole. It's not just all about breeding though. Again, there's another weekend event. So the Saturday of week 2, there is the Sugar Maple Cup, which is 4 races, 1 for each left dirt, I keep going turf, right dirt and right turf, 4-year-old plus fillies, who again is very easy to retire at that age for breeding purposes. It is fillies only, and it is a chance for them to compete against each other in some graded races. It's variable distances that can change from season to season, so it just depends what role you get on any given year. But again, it's a reason for people to keep their fillies on the racetrack for longer. Again, I feel like that's a positive thing for photo finish. So you might be asking at this point, where are all the major races? You've not mentioned them yet. So they have all been tucked into week 4, the final week. You have Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday. The rookie rally is sandwiched in the middle on the Wednesday for any new players to take part as well. So the last week is a bumper week of major races. So the third week now becomes a warm-up for the majors. It's restricted grade majors. This is what I've been clamouring for ever since I got involved in photo finish. A chance for stables who specialise or who might just be getting started in the lower grades, the A grades, all the way up to S+, have their own major series, or 6 furlongs or 10 furlongs. You choose which one you're going to go for, and like the big majors, qualifiers will run from week 1 all the way through to when the races take part. And for these restricted majors, it's just the first 2 weeks of the season for qualifying, then into the main races in week 3. For the big majors, it's 3 weeks of qualifying, then into them in the final week of the season. Again, it brings structure to everything. It brings excitement, different things to look forward to in different weeks, and it builds up nicely to a crescendo with the final major being the Kentucky Derby. It's really well thought out, and I hope that it's going to be really well received as well. I personally am really looking forward to trying to get a horse into those restricted stakes majors, restricted grade majors, sorry. I have Swift Winter, who's now 4. He's now getting on a little bit. He might not be as good a horse, so I'm hoping he's still got the speed that he had before. I am aiming for that 6 furlong A Derby sorry, not Derby, Major, I should say, Major race. The Lucky Dash, I believe it's called, if I remember rightly. Had one race so far, didn't go too well. We will see how he copes going forward. I did run him on sloppy, so that's my own fault, but I'm hoping to get at least enough qualifier points to be in the major race, in the dance, and if you're in there in the final, you never know. Everyone's got a chance if they're in that final race. To round things off, the content creators involved with Photo Finish Live continue to drive events, to drive the community as well. You've still got the likes of Doughboy, the likes of Mo, the likes of Taco, all these guys doing their streams. You've got the late night after dark racing, you've got Making the Grade, all sorts of interesting takes brought by these content guys into racing and always changing to adapt and bring something new to it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy checking out all the streams. I've not managed to get into everyone yet, just with the time difference, but I'm trying my best to get into everyone to see what they do differently, and thoroughly recommend Doughboy's streams, which are the ones I generally am able to get into on a Monday night, and usually Tuesday night tends to be as well. So recommend you check those guys. I'll drop some links again in the description for you if you wish to go and check them out. If you go to the Photo Finish homepage and click on season calendar, you will see the layout there, and I've also linked an article in this description that gives you the lowdown on everything with the new season schedule. And that is your summary. So just a short video this week. I will leave you with a little sight of my full reveal. I won't go too into depth yet because I'm working on how I'm going to do that as a content piece. Maybe every 2 weeks I'll give you an update, or maybe a seasonal update on what I'm doing and how things are going. I got very lucky this month, managed to get 2 S grade fillies. I am delighted because I wasn't expecting any S's whatsoever to come through. So they're there. Obviously have a look at my stable if you wish for a little nosy, but otherwise thank you for tuning in to this shorter video today. I appreciate you coming by. Drop a like or a subscription on there if you want to see more, if you've enjoyed it, and until next time, I'll see you on the racetrack. Adios.